Welcome back to the episode of the Boys on the Bench podcast. We are your host. I am DJ Riley, and alongside me, as always, is my brother Dalton Riley and lifelong friend Nathan Eastwood. So, in this episode, what we are going to be talking about is breakout players versus breakdown players. And now, what we mean by that are obviously the breakout players, someone that is going to be so influential in getting you to the playoffs, to possibly seeing your fantasy championship this year. But on the other hand, we're going to have some breakdown players who aren't going to be doing so well, that are maybe going to have a breakdown year, maybe cause you to have a breakdown midway at some point through the year. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And we have some pretty good options. I really like a lot of our breakdown players. I think that those are some solid options. There's some of them that a little bit of a hot take. Some of these people are on my team, so I am really interested on y'all's takes. Anyways, let's go ahead and get this started. Dalton, I am going to kick it to you, and let's get this breakout versus breakdown started.
Yeah, so fellas, my breakout player for 2023 that I have currently for fantasy is Justin Fields. Guys, Justin Fields, most people would say he's already broken out. How could this be a breakout player? Guys, that is very true. He did have a phenomenal year last year. He surprised a lot of people, but I am going to say that this is going to be breakout number 2. If anything, it's going to be a build breakout on top of last year's breakout. So what I like about this, guys, is what the Bears did for him. They went out and got him, bolstered up that offensive line. They got him a bona fide, solidified wide receiver in DJ Moore. And let's not forget that their rushing game is a little bit behind, but that's okay. That's what Justin Fields is there for. So, guys, I'm totally excited about this breakout in Justin Fields. The man ran for over 1,000 yards rushing as a quarterback, but he only threw for 2,200 passing yards and had 11 interceptions. So, yeah, his arm didn't look phenomenal, but I think they did a great job in the offseason, and that's going to improve that quite a bit. So, I am stoked for this. He's currently as a PPR ADP is at 50. I think he's going to far outperform that. I think he's going as the quarterback number 6 at the position. So, guys, I think he's going to do very well this season. I'm excited for his legs. I'm excited to see him match up with DJ Moore, see some long plays down the field. The dude, he hasn't shown hot flashes in his arm, but I think he's got a very strong arm, and I think he'll show more this year. So
no, I agree. I think that's a good statement you made there. Personally, I want to see him grow in his pocket passing. We all know how good of a pocket passer he was at Ohio State, and he was really good there, and the arm strength was there. So that's where I want to see him grow this year. He grew last year. He got really good towards the end of the season, middle of the season last year. So to me, if he can work on that, in camps and going into this season, be a better pocket passer, he could be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I would like to see him do that personally.
Dalton, I wish I could say that Justin Fields is going to be a breakout player. I know he finished as quarterback number 7 last year for quarterbacks. I'm not high on him. I feel you can add all of the weapons that you want to around him. DJ Moore is a very great pass catcher for the Bears, and that's the right move you make as an organization. But to Nathan's point, Justin Fields is he's not a passer. He's really not a passer, and he has not showed that the last 2 seasons. And in fact, they said last year, out of the 33 qualified quarterbacks, he ranked 29th in on-target percentage at 68.2%, 31st in completion percentage, and then he had a 3.5 interception rate, which was 32 out of 33. So he is sitting at the bottom 3 to 5 quarterbacks in every accuracy component. So I don't care necessarily who you have. They can go out and get DeAndre Hopkins to line up opposite of DJ Moore, and it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter because Justin Fields can't throw it. You're dependent upon his legs. You're really dependent upon Justin Fields' legs. I think that his rushing last year is very hard to match this year, any year. That's not something that's going to remain consistent. I think that he kind of had a boom year in terms of rushing. That's not something he's going to be able to repeat from year to year.
Look, and one thing I do want to kind of bring up too is somebody that he kind of reminds me of, and I've seen other sources say this too. He kind of resembles Jalen Hurts in his young career. I feel like Jalen Hurts also struggled quite a bit at the beginning, not at maybe like a full year, but he did struggle when it came to the passing. But I think they both struggle because of the lack of wide receiver play that they both had when they first started. Now that Jalen Hurts has Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and other weapons around him, look how much he's thrived in the NFL. If they do the same thing for Justin Fields, this man will absolutely be Jalen Hurts 2.0. This year, I'm not going to compare him to Jalen Hurts this year, but I think he makes another step forward because of what the organization did for Justin Fields. I see him making a positive push this year just because of what's around him compared to last year. I don't see any reason. I would like him to throw the ball more, even if he does go sub rush 1,000 rushing yards. As long as I see a positive in that passing yards, I'm good with it.
Yeah,
I still count that as.
I think that's a solid comparison, and I hope he does what Jalen Hurts did and got better in the pocket. But moving on to my breakout player. My breakout player is Jonathan Taylor, and a lot of people might not say like, "Oh, Nathan, why are you picking him as your breakout player?" Well, because he had such that great year in 2021 that we all know, right? Phenomenal year. And then he followed it up last year with that crappy whatever it was last year. I mean, it was not good. And so if he wants to be a top tier running back in the NFL, he needs to get back to what he did in 2021. So he needs to have a breakout year. And I think now that they can get the offensive line healthy, they brought in Anthony Richardson. It's going to help the run game a little bit, keep it honest. I could see him having close to a 2021 year like he did, but I think 2021 would be his best year of his career because it was just that good of a year. But he can get moving in that direction this year, and I expect him to do that with the pieces that they add in a healthy offensive line.
Totally. Jonathan Taylor, for me, I mean, he's a solid player. He's always been a really good player, and I think that the only thing is if he can remain healthy, he is always going to put up those top running back numbers. And currently he's going off as running back number 6. I think that that's a good spot for him. So even Saquon, I know we had talked about him a little bit earlier in, other podcasts and stuff. Saquon is just above him at running back 5. And with all the stuff going on with Saquon, I like Jonathan Taylor a lot. I think he's going to be a really good option. I think that Anthony Richardson was brought in, and that is a perfect complementary quarterback for him. So I know that a lot of people are skeptical, and they're like, oh, well, Anthony Richardson only targeted his running back 5% of the time whenever he was in Florida. For me, it doesn't matter.
But he didn't. He didn't have Jonathan Taylor. Yeah.
Oh, and that's the thing with Jonathan Taylor though too. He's not a receiving back. He never has been a receiving back. So what does it matter how many times Anthony Richardson throws to him? Fantasy value, yes, I can see where you care about that, but also you have to know that Jonathan Taylor has never relied upon that. So why is that a concern all of a sudden now? So I think, if anything, the Anthony Richardson draft choice was perfect for Jonathan Taylor, and he should be stoked about it.
Look, I think Jonathan Taylor ran the ball and performed well enough 2 years ago to the point that he probably could have sat this entire year off anyway. I mean, the dude's an absolute stud. He's at an elite level. I mean, the dude, you can't just see him decline after the year that he had and then be like, oh, he's a bust, right? Like, the dude is going to absolutely perform this year. He was plagued by injuries. His offensive line didn't want to help him out. I mean, there was so much going on, even from the coaching perspective. He had a new playbook. Like, dude, give the man a break. And guys, we've been excited about this Anthony Richardson with him at quarterback and everything. I think the gaps are going to be more wide than they'll ever be for Jonathan Taylor, and I would be so stoked to have this dude on my fantasy team.
Yeah, he's gonna be a solid pickup for anybody.
Too bad you traded him away.
Hey, I did.
Who'd you trade him to, Dalton?
Traded him to you.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I did. What did I get for him?
Jahmyr Gibbs.
That, and I got some draft capital too. I got some of that, but Jahmyr Gibbs is another one. So, but anyway,
it was a pretty good trade.
No.
But
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, as I say, only Time will tell.
See, Nathan, there's my risk taker. You said I'm not a risk taker in fantasy anymore, boy. There you go.
All right, moving on to the next person, and it is my breakout player. I am going a little bit deeper. Both of y'all's were in the top 50. Mine is outside of the top 100, and that is Nico Collins. So I'm going to give it a little shout out to my personal YouTube page. I did a little segment on him as one of my late round darlings. Nico Collins is going to be an absolute stud for the Houston Texans this year. Just simply because look at the wide receiver room in Houston. Currently, it is Nico Collins, who, yes, he's coming off of an injury.
It has potential, though.
It does. It does have potential, but again, it's Nico Collins. Then it's the aging Robert Woods, John Mechie, who is returning from a cancer treatment. I think he's going to be a stud, but he is returning from a cancer treatment. And then now the new rookie, Nathaniel Tank Dell. I know there's Noah Brown also, but I think that the four that I just
Schultz.
and Dalton Schultz, but I'm talking about wide receivers. I think those are the four main guys. There is no one in that group that I think we can sit here and say any of those are going to be wide receiver ones on your team. I think it's safe to say that a lot of those are going to struggle to even be wide receiver twos on your team. But if you're going to tell me to list one player who I think has the potential to break out as a wide receiver two, putting him in the top 24 of fantasy, that's going to be Nico Collins. He was such a stud last season when he was healthy, and that was with Davis Mills under center. And Nico Collins had the worst catchable target rate amongst all qualified wide receivers. So with the upgraded quarterback in CJ Stroud, I mean, it only is going to get better for him. So if he continues to play at the rate he played at last year when he's healthy, this is going to be a breakout season for him easily. But people are worried about Nathaniel Tank Dell. They're worried about Robert Woods. They're worried about John Mechie coming back. And that should be, you count your blessings on that, because I'm telling you, Nico Collins is going to be, Nico Collins is going to be wide receiver one for the Houston Texans.
Ooh, hot take.
Yeah, I think that's very easily in the realm of possibilities. If he stays healthy, he could have a 1,000-yard season, and I would consider that to be in a boom for Nico Collins. But unfortunately, I don't know if I can get on this train with Nico Collins. For me, I just feel like if you traded him, or if you traded for him, or you traded him away, I feel like it's neither a win or a lose for me. Nico Collins, there's so much question marks there, especially with his health. But on top of that, there's no number one receiver in Houston right now. And with the new quarterback, we don't know who his favorite target's going to be. For me, I'm going to stay away from Houston wide receivers. Other people have different ideas and different thoughts. I'm not saying to stay away from them. It's just it's a kind of a gamble for me, and I don't really want that, and I don't want to risk a draft pick on a gamble. So I'm going to go with something a little more stable for me. But DJ makes a good point. He could very well be a stash in fantasy this year, but it's just not the draft pick for me.
Well, then as wide receiver, if you think of how the drafts have been going, it is so wide receiver heavy now. I think running backs have started to lose their value a little bit. Nico Collins, his ADP is 123. So that is into the 13th round. So that is at the beginning of the 13th round. So that means that you're probably drafting Nico Collins as wide receiver 5 or wide receiver 6 on your team. Oh my gosh. I mean, I feel like he is arguably going to be wide receiver 3 or wide receiver 4 on your fantasy team. I think he is going to break in to the top 40, maybe the top 30 of wide receivers. And you're getting him, he's currently getting drafted as wide receiver 58 in PPR. He is an absolute steal for me because, I mean, yes, you're taking a risk, but you're taking a risk in the 13th round. If he doesn't work out, he's going to sit on your bench. That's a 13th rounder. Most leagues have 10 teams or 10 starters anyways on your fantasy team. So you're drafting him to be a backup, but I think he has the potential again to be that flex option for you. So I like him a lot. I'm passionate about it. I like it. I like Nico. I will ride that train till I die.
Clearly.
Till I die. But anyways, that is our
Week 1 tears his ACL. He's going to come back on the podcast.
see, and
well,
you
the
just-
train came off
That's
track.
bad juju there,
motherfucker.
Nathan. That is bad juju.
You better knock on wood right now, son.
No,
Don't
I wanted
even.
that. I'm not knocking on wood. I got Mechie in the dynasty league. So
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're probably a big Mechie fan. My wife has Cam has Nico Collins, and she's heard me rave about him. So I tried to trade, and she's like, "No, I'm not
No,
doing
she just
that."
doesn't.
So
She just doesn't want to trade him away to hurt your feelings. So she's just kind of holding on as a sympathy thing.
regardless, it cuts deep. But anyways, those are our breakout players. Those are people that we are saying are going to outperform where they are getting drafted, and they are likely again to be a difference makers on your fantasy team. Not someone that again is just going to ride the bench. They're going to be difference makers, putting you that one step closer to reaching your fantasy championships this year. Now, that leads us to our breakdown players who are actually going to do quite the opposite. Like I said earlier in this episode, and not only are they going to break down this season, but they are likely to make you break down at some point, wondering why did you ever draft this player where you did? So, Nathan, I know who you have, but I'm curious your take on this. So go ahead and get us started with these breakdown players.
yeah, well, and y'all might be a little in awe here, but my breakdown player is a Cowboy player, believe it or not, and that is Michael Gallup. Ever since that injury, Michael Gallup hasn't been the same. Before that, Dak Prescott would try to throw the ball down the field, the deep medium routes. He tried to get him the ball a lot. And ever since his ACL and he's came back, was it ACL or MCL? I don't remember. His knee injury.
It was a knee injury.
We'll just say his knee injury.
Not
But
good.
yeah, it wasn't good. But ever since he's kind of gotten back from there, the production's kind of fallen off. And then, they used him as like a deep threat, kind of a deep threat guy, to throw the ball down the field. But they just brought in Brandon Cooks. That's essentially what everybody used Brandon Cooks for. And we're talking about, let me just read this off here. Michael Gallup, he had 39 receptions for 424 yards, 4 touchdowns, with a wide receiver rank of 66. And his strength of schedule is the 3rd hardest.
It's that NFC East.
It's that NFC East. And there's just, like I said, it's a breakdown because, I had him last year, coming back off his injury, people were speaking highly about it. And Dak just really didn't try to get him the ball that much. And I don't know what it was, but I look forward to be the same this year, especially with the addition of Brandon Cooks. So if you're going to go Cowboys receivers, I'd stick CD and Brandon Cooks, probably stay away from Gallup. And unless it's like DJ mentioned, maybe a 13th round where it's like, hey, it's a 13th round pick. Who cares, but yeah, I don't see it. I expect him to be even lower, his production to be lower than what it was this past year.
And Nathan, to your point, so you said maybe if he is a 13th round pick, currently his overall ADP in PPR leagues is 134. So that would put him, oh man, what is that? Probably the 13th or 14th round, somewhere.
Yeah,
somewhere
the 13th, beginning of the 14th, maybe.
Yeah, and again, I don't know the players that are drafted around there, but I don't want to talk about Nico Collins here, but I feel like that is the difference is Nico Collins has the potential to be wide receiver 1, whereas Michael Gallup, that's not even in the equation for him. We know it's CeeDee Lamb, but now, it's CeeDee Lamb 100%. I mean, he's getting 11 to 15 targets a game, CeeDee Lamb is, but now, like you're saying, they just brought in Brandon Cooks, so now he's having to compete for targets with him. I feel like Pollard
they drafted a tight end, and we know that Dak really likes to throw the ball to the tight ends.
Yeah, and then even Pollard is a very good receiving back, so he's got a lot of competition. So I mean, it's where you at. I would have to see kind of the players that are ranked kind of around where he's at, but I will say that he is one of those players that you would kind of get a little bit skeptical about. He's one of those players, maybe he's a wide receiver handcuff kind of an option. If you drafted CeeDee Lamb, maybe look to get him just in case CeeDee Lamb goes down with an injury, and then you can have Michael Gallup as a fill-in player for you. So, but I do agree. I don't think that he's going to make any bit of difference on your team.
Yeah, I definitely don't think this is a hot take. I think this is a hot seat for Gallup. Dude, I think that he's going to have to come in and he's going to have to figure out how to make his way into this offense with Brandon Cooks and CeeDee Lamb. And guys, we've seen Brandon Cooks. I mean, we should have just done a breakout year for the past 7 or 8 years for freaking Brandon Cooks. This dude comes into a league and plays for, gosh, he's going to break a record for the most teams played with. And 1,000 yards receiving with multiple quarterbacks. I mean, this guy just comes in and he's the most consistent wide receiver in the NFL. I'm sure 2 or 3 years in this podcast, Nathan's going to have a question for us. Who's the most consistent wide receiver and played for 12 teams with 1,000 yards for each team? Brandon Cooks. Like, for bench banter, I mean, it's crazy. This dude is so consistent, and I just don't see how Michael Gallup's going to be able to get back into this. Come 2024, I can see him possibly leaving the Cowboys. But I think right now this is going to be a team that's going to be run most by Brandon Cooks and CeeDee Lamb. But anyways, all right, fellas. So for my breakdown player for this year for fantasy, it is Deebo Samuel. Guys, I have been Snoopy dog on this guy, dude. I've been wanting this dude to be successful for the last couple of years, and I think he has been, but this year is definitely not his year. I don't know how they think that Christian McCaffrey coming in playing for the 49ers had any way of helping Deebo. I mean, the only efficiency he ever had was behind the line. And now that he's wanting to be more spaced out and be more playing in a wide receiver type role, I just don't think it's quite worked out for fantasy purposes for him. And I think Brandon Ayuk is only getting better in this. And George Kittle, there's too many weapons and there's too many mouths to feed. And you've got too many young quarterbacks back there trying to demand that offense, that great offense. With that being said, I'm staying away from Deebo Samuel. And what's crazy, guys, is there's people out there that are still taking him over wide receivers like DK Metcalf and Amari Cooper. Like they're taking Deebo Samuel because they still see him as the receiver he was 2 years ago. And guys, he's not that anymore. And I don't think he ever will be, not with Christian McCaffrey back there. So I think he's definitely breaking down. So
yeah, and I'm going to agree with you there, Dalton. I think Deebo Samuel's kryptonite was them adding Christian McCaffrey, because that's where that's what his best production was they used him as a wide receiver / running back, and he was a hell of a fantasy football player when they did that. And then they bring in a guy like Christian McCaffrey who can do the same things as Deebo Samuel. So, like DJ said, or Dalton said, there's a lot of mouths to feed with Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, and now Deebo. He's going to be a true wide receiver with McCaffrey. So, I don't see him being what he was the past 2 years for sure. I think his production levels go down just because you're not adding that running back factor with him. They might still try to do some with him a little bit, but be hard to do with Christian McCaffrey back there.
I think Christian McCaffrey you'd have to be betting on an injury with Christian McCaffrey in order to hopefully maybe see
if McCaffrey gets hurt, Deebo Samuel will start trading, boys, because he's going to be pretty good. But McCaffrey has to get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's exactly what y'all are both saying is everyone has the tunnel vision looking through the lens of how he was in 2021. I have Deebo Samuel, and I love Deebo Samuel, but I love him on Dynasty just because I feel like his time in San Francisco is numbered. And I feel like he's going to be on the way out. The next team that he goes to, he's going to pick up right where he left off. But there are a lot of mouths to feed, like y'all are saying, in San Francisco. So this year, I don't like him because, like we're saying, Amari Cooper currently one spot under him. So I'm taking Amari Cooper over Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, all day.
Yeah,
all day.
Jerry Jeudy. I almost like Jerry Jeudy a little bit more than Deebo Samuel.
I like it. Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins, Drake London. Drake London's kind of I feel like I'd maybe go Deebo. But anyways, there's plenty of options under Deebo Samuel that I'm going with. And I was looking at his numbers last year. So Deebo, I think Christian McCaffrey, I know he was traded like October sometime, and I think that's maybe week 7, week 8 time of the year. Deebo Samuel, before Christian McCaffrey was traded to them last season, he was double digits every single week except for week 7 versus Kansas City, and he was close to it. He's 9.4. So very good, putting up really good numbers. The second he gets traded to or Christian McCaffrey goes to San Francisco, he's nowhere near as productive. In those weeks after, yes, he was hurt for 3 or 4 weeks, but then he also only put up 3 double-digit weeks from week 10 to 18, only 3. But then prior to that, weeks 1 through 6, every single week was a double-digit week. So I will ride this train with you on. I am not high on Deebo Samuel. I think you pass on him. And again, just hope to God someone may pass him, because right now, what is his ADP? 34. So he's at the back end of the 3rd round. So maybe if he scoops back to you, you pass on him at the 3rd round. He scoops back to you at the 4th. And if he's there to you in the 4th, I would take him. I would absolutely take him. But
I think
in the
that's
3rd round, where he's currently at 34, I do not take him, considering the other options that are there. I don't take that risk there.
That's a good point. I think in the 4th round is feasible for sure. And DJ, you made a good point. His days are numbered. What do you guys think are some possibly good landing spots for him after the 49ers, probably per se, maybe after this year?
Bro, we just talked about it.
Green Bay.
What? No, Chicago Bears.
Chicago could be good. Well,
dude, that's a running dangerous
offense,
in Chicago's. They don't have a Christian McCaffrey style running back. So the Bears could use him just like the 49ers did in 2021, and he would be phenomenal.
He's going to end up going to like a stupid team like the Carolina Panthers or something that just doesn't make sense. Sorry if you're a Panthers fan listening to this, but I do not want to see Deebo Samuel go to the Panthers in their current state.
Dude, I don't know. I see Deebo maybe wanting to win. What if he goes to the Chiefs? I would say Chiefs. I could see him going there.
That would make me so mad.
Yeah, I know. Me too. But I could see Deebo doing that, though. I feel like he'd want a ring, and I feel like that's what he'd do. So
yeah, he's been so close so many times. So yeah. I can see it, and I get it as a professional athlete why you would want to do it, because if I'm in the same spot and I've had a really good career up until my late 20s, early 30s, it's like all I want is a ring. That's why. Yeah. I mean, really, that's what they're shooting for. So why not? Why would I not go join the best team? So I get it, but. Oh, it's frustrating seeing that. So
go get it, Deebo.
Yeah. My breakdown player is actually Mike Evans. So Mike Evans.
Ooh, pack your shit. Get the fuck out of town.
You talking to me or Mike Evans?
You.
Why?
How dare you disrespect Mike Evans?
Okay. Let me give my reasoning on this a little bit.
Shit you can say.
I know he's had a really good career. Even last year, that was
really good. Really good
career. Yeah,
you better put some more respect on that. It's been better than really good.
I don't know how much really good can get better.
Fucking phenomenal.
Yes, but he also, if you look through his career, Jameis Winston was his quarterback, pass happy dude. The back end of his career is Tom Brady. Really good career, really good passer. So last year with Tom Brady, 77 receptions, over 1,100 yards, six touchdowns. He is in the NFC East or NFC South, so he has the 3rd easiest strength of schedule for wide receivers. If you look at all of those numbers, it says, "Oh, I'm drafting Mike Evans." However, he doesn't have Tom Brady anymore. He has Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's good. He's good, but he's not Tom Brady. So I do expect
neither is Jameis Winston.
Yes, but Jameis Winston would throw the ball so many times that he had a lot of opportunity. I don't think Baker comes in and he's throwing 50 to 60 times a game. So
he can though. If you go back to Oklahoma days, Baker Mayfield could throw the football pretty well.
Yeah, I'm not trying to dog.
A lot of quarterbacks do though.
I'm not dogging. I'm not dogging on Baker. I think Baker got dealt a fuck
about Baker.
Yeah, he got dealt the shorthand for sure. But what I think sticks out more than anything, and what really speaks out to the breakdown aspect of Mike Evans, is his actual ability to run routes. So, according to the ESPN analytics, he is 35th in route win rate. Not good. He
don't have to win routes. He's fucking Mike Evans.
He absolutely has to. How are you supposed to beat the defender? You're losing. Every
Because
single catch that he's having to make.
Mike Evans.
Okay, but he's also a year older than he was last year.
Okay.
So he's only going to lose even more of a step. But then he's also 47th in open rate. So he's not getting open. He's not beating his defender. And
he's
he just
still
gained
going
another
for 1,000 yards. Get out of here.
In a Tom Brady offense.
You can't what that's called?
What?
That's called grown man football, DJ.
It is.
He's saying, I'm getting up, I'm bigger and better than you, I'm going to take this shit. So he's not covered, or he's covered, but he ain't covered. He's that good.
But I think that more than anything, that speaks to Tom Brady's ability, because he's not winning his routes, but he's not open. Tom Brady is at least putting it in a spot. Baker Mayfield is looking at that. If you didn't win a route, Baker's probably not throwing it your way. He's got Chris Godwin. He's throwing it Chris Godwin's way. If you're not winning a route, you're probably not going to get the ball.
You tell me he ain't going to pull a Mike Evans is down there somewhere.
No, I can see that, but I can really see that, but I really don't think that that's going to happen this year. I don't think that he gets. There's no way. I feel like he touches 1,000 yards. There's no way he touches 1,000 yards. That NFC South is going to be such low scoring
on that man.
I'm sorry, but I just don't trust. I don't trust a lot of people in the NFC South.
If he gets 1,000 yards receiving this year, you have to buy his jersey,
and I'll do that. I will do that.
All right, bet.
We got to do a bet for Nathan to buy a jersey, because I've already bought one already with the. Y'all already know.
Jordan Love throws for 4,000.
If Jordan Love throws for 4,000, I'll get a Jordan Love jersey.
All right, cool with it. We'll rock with that.
I'll wear I'll rough the Dijon. DJ get the Jordan Love, and Nathan, what's yours? What are you gonna do?
No, I'm not getting Mike Evans, because it ain't happening. Mike Evans ain't hitting 1,000 yards this year. So, Don, what do you think? Is Mike Evans hitting 1,000? Be the tiebreaker here.
You said he wasn't going to hit 1,000 last year.
Let me start it off with this. Let me say this. So I did run across a pretty cool page the other day on the fan page for Mike Evans. And guys, what I saw that was pretty fascinating is he's actually like on par with beating Jerry Rice's receiving record. The dude just overall has been super productive. They were saying that they're both averaging over 70 yards per game, and with over 10 or 12 receptions per game. Like it's crazy how the identical where they are at in their careers. Now, Mike Evans has only played half the games that Jerry Rice has played, but they're saying that where he's at in his career right now, his trajectory is actually going to beat Jerry Rice's. So I think he's definitely Hall of Fame material.
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Right, but a Hall of Famer is a Hall of Famer, right? But when it comes to fantasy basis per year, I don't know. I'm kind of with DJ, though. I like Mike Evans for Nathan's point. Mike Evans will be a first ballot potential Hall of Famer.
The greatest wide receiver in our era, by far.
But to me, it comes down to the team. And I'm not a huge – I like Baker Mayfield as a person. I think he makes funny commercials. I think he's a very hilarious dude. But I don't know if he's the best quarterback. And I think that's where it kind of gets me with Mike Evans, unless Mike Evans goes to another team this year, or I might look for him next year. If I think he
retires as a Buccaneer.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see that.
Or he joins the Chiefs.
Well, yeah.
Well, he's already got a ring.
But everybody loves seeing players stay with their teams. But this year, yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. I think he brings great flex appeal, or he'd be. Flex appeal, okay, that's a hot topic. I think he's a great potential wide receiver 1 for your team, but I'm going to take him more as a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 type this year.
Before we move on, though, I do want to ask you this. Do you agree, in our era, he's the greatest wide receiver of all time?
No.
In our era?
No.
Not in our era. I think he's
watching
one of the greatest.
No.
Who is it?
I don't know. I feel Antonio Brown, even in his prime, so much better than Mike Evans ever will be. If Antonio Brown did not fall off the face of the earth, oh my gosh, it wouldn't even be a conversation.
His freaking mind, if he didn't fall for that first.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So Antonio Brown, that's the first person that comes to my mind.
Dude, Mike Evans is up there.
Well, of course, he's up there for sure.
And that's
You
what I'm
can
saying. I'm not
arguably
trying to
say-
discount. I'm not trying to discount Mike Evans' career because he's been so
You
solid
just don't,
year
you just
in and year
don't
out.
like Mike. You just don't
I
like
do.
Mike Evans, don't?
I do. I really just don't like A&M players, but more than anything. But
Well, I mean, I'll give you that. Yeah.
but I don't know. I'm just not high on him this year. I don't like the
Yeah.
Buccaneers. Everything about the Buccaneers I don't really like.
Nothing against the wide receiver, just the team.
Just it's really the team. I don't see them being productive. I can't get behind Mike Evans because, frankly, I don't even know if he's going to be wide receiver 1 for them. I think it's going to be Chris Godwin. So
Go beat that
how can I
receiving
get
record,
behind
boy.
him? So
Dude, he'll fetch Jerry Rice. He'll fetch him, Nathan.
Oh,
He's
I
got
think he will. I think he will because he's only 29, so I think that he will fetch Jerry Rice.
That's still pretty
But-
young for a wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
shoot,
like 80 years old for a running back.
everyone's
Mike
high on
Evans-
DeAndre Hopkins, and DeAndre Hopkins is older than Mike Evans.
Mike Evans would be the greatest wide receiver of all time if he did not play at Texas A&M.
Amen, hallelujah. Amen, hallelujah. Anyways, that brings us to the end of this segment. If y'all have listened up to this point, thank y'all so much for listening. We are going to jump into our fan favorite called Bench Banter. And again, if you are just now joining us, if this is your first episode listening to, all Bench Banter is a little bit of trivia. And what it is me and Dalton are going to be working together. The brothers are going to be working together. Nathan is asking these off-the-wall questions, and me and Dalton will put our great minds together and see if we can get it right. Nathan is going to give us a hint if we ask for it.
But before Nathan gets started, I think we have a question for him. Who won last week?
Oh, don't get it wrong.
Was it y'all?
Oh, was it? Want me to give you a hint?
Do you have who has
Rhymes with CJ and Colton.
Oh yeah, does it? Who has the winning record?
All right, let's get this started.
Yeah.
All right, question number 1.
All right, question number 1. Which QB was selected in the 2017 draft before Patrick Mahomes?
Wait, which you said which quarterback, or did you give a?
Which quarterback was selected in the 2017 draft before Patrick Mahomes?
Was
Mitchell
that the year?
Trubisky?
Was it him? Ooh. Is it him or was it Jared Goff?
Are we talking about right before him, or are we talking about the number 1 pick?
I think he's just saying
What
the
quarterback-
next. Yeah, I think it doesn't matter. And he
What
picks 1 through
quarterback
9.
was selected before Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah.
I feel like Mitchell Trubisky was in that class.
Regardless, I like Mitchell Trubisky or Jared Goff.
I
So if
think
you
those
want to
are
lock
two
in,
picks.
yeah, Dalton's locking in.
Okay.
You got
All right, that was probably well, that's the second quickest I've ever answered a question, but the correct answer is Mitchell Trubisky.
okay.
Trubisky, Mitchell Trubisky, yeah.
Nice, Dalton. We didn't even
He
use the
answered
hint.
that so quick, dude.
Oh, I remember they traded up for that fool so fast, and I was like, what the hell?
That was the
Yeah,
greatest.
dude.
Shocked the world.
That was the
Question
greatest day as a
number 2.
Packers fan in 2017.
Mitchell Trubisky shocked the world twice.
Yeah, no joke. Other than Tom Brady, which 2 QBs have the most fourth quarter comebacks in NFL history?
Ooh. Matthew Stafford.
What? You think
I
so?
feel like he's been
in a
Well,
lot
with
of
the
games, and he
Lions.
was with the Lions, and they lost a lot of games.
but he's a pretty freaking poised quarterback for sure. But that is true.
Conference.
He is a blue collar quarterback.
Yeah. Wait, what'd you say, DJ?
Conference as a hint.
Both of them play in the ASC.
Crap.
You said other than who?
Tom Brady.
Trying to think. So AFC, you got Phillip Rivers.
Peyton Manning.
I don't think so. Peyton Manning, maybe.
So this is a 2-parter.
It's a 2-parter.
Okay, is Peyton Manning right?
Peyton Manning is one of them. That's correct.
Okay, so now me and we have to get one more. Okay.
Oh, dude, I'm feeling Ben Roethlisberger, dude. I feel like he could be one.
God dang it. Yeah, it is Big Ben.
Nice,
Is it?
Dalton?
Yeah.
Nice.
Dude, hell yeah.
That is Big Ben. That's pretty good.
All right, go ahead and hit us. We already
Well,
won. We already won.
Yeah, that's
So-
the win there. But
Give us
y'all-
the third
y'all
one.
wanna- You want to try for the third one?
Yep.
Yeah. All right, no hints.
All right. So you already got the win. Question 3, no hints. You ready?
Okay.
What 3 running backs have won the NFL MVP?
3? These are 6
What
questions.
3 running backs won the NFL MVP?
LT
gotta
That
be
is
won
one
it.
of them. Damian Tomlinson's one of them.
Is it one of those Rams running backs?
Todd Gurley.
Maybe.
I feel like Todd Gurley did in 19?
I was gonna say you're
2020?
dumb, but actually, I think he may have. Let's lock it
Dalton's
in.
out
Todd
here
Gurley.
he's out here hitting 40-foot putts.
Yeah.
Like, what are the fucking chances? Just
Todd Gurley, is Todd Gurley one of them?
No, he's not one of them.
Is it a Rams
Come
running
on,
back though?
guys. No, come on. This one of them should be easy. Like seriously.
Barry Sanders.
No.
How easy is it?
so we get 3. There's 3 running backs, so we get 3.
Tony
guesses.
Dorsett.
DJ.
No. Come on. Really think about it. The most recent guy to do it.
Man, I'm blanking. Thank God we
feel
got
like
the other
Adrian
2
Peterson?
questions.
There it is.
Oh,
Jesus.
yes. That's
Adrian
a good one.
Peterson.
Man, Dalton, you are carrying the team today.
All right,
Dude,
there's one left. I'll give you 30 seconds. Both of y'all to lock in an answer. He played in the NFC.
Le'Veon Bell? No.
That's the
Easy.
AFC.
Is that what you said?
I said NFC.
Oh, I seriously thought you said AFC. Good thing you fixed me. I would have been guessing this whole time.
Has to be. I feel like it has to be the Cowboys.
It has to be.
Emmitt
yeah.
Smith.
That's one of Nathan's questions.
Emmitt
Okay,
Smith.
He's locking it in. Dalton, what are you locking in?
As an NFC.
Just throw something out there. We already got the dub.
You already got the win. Yeah, you can just throw it out there.
Really?
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey.
Oh,
CMC.
this year? It is going to be, I'm just going to guess this year's. Okay.
Oh, my God.
It's just pouring salt in the wound.
All right. DJ's locked in Emmitt Smith. Dalton, who are you locking in?
Kirk Cousins.
All right. Well, you're wrong. That man don't even play running back. All right, you don't want to know who the other one was?
Yeah.
Sean Alexander.
Oh, for the Seahawks. Dang.
I wouldn't have gotten that one.
No. He's someone I
That
forget
was a
about.
tough
He even
one.
made a Madden cover. I always forget
Yeah.
about him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
that's
definitely
crazy,
made
isn't
the
it?
Madden Cup. What was it? I forgot what year it was, though.
I do too.
All right. Well, Nathan, I hope you like them lickings.
I think we're starting to get up to a pretty even record. So Nathan, you're about to start
I would
not
pump
being
them.
able to say that.
I don't think y'all won till like week 10.
Hey, it takes us a minute to warm up, but now we're hot, dude.
Yeah.
We're relaxed.
That was the quickest bench banter section we've ever had.
Welcome to the sauna. It's getting hot.
We've been promoted from AAA to the major leagues.
About time.
Anyways, thank y'all so much for listening to this episode 16, which was breakouts versus breakdowns. As always, we would love to know what y'all think on this episode. Drop something in the comments, whether we had a hot take, whether you agree with it, disagree with it, anything. And we would love to hear from y'all. Get connected to us to our website, which is boysonthebench.com. We have been making a little bit of updates there. Our website is still a little bit of a work in progress, but if you are looking to get connected to everything that we are doing, that is the best place to do it. So as always, thank y'all so much, and we will see y'all next episode.
Yes, sir. Pleasure
Talk
riding the
to us. We
pine.
love to talk to you guys. Send some comments. Tell us what you think. Tell us you don't like us. We don't like Nathan either.